Now, I think we can all agree that Xbox has been on a steep and steady decline ever since 2013. This can be due to the fact that Microsoft was focusing mainly on the media aspect, giving us new ways to watch Netflix, Hulu, HBO, pretty much whatever you can get your hands on in terms of media. Now, I think we can all agree that the Xbox One back in 2013 was one of the most underperforming consoles for its generation, when we had things like the PS4, which was at a much better deal when it came with an extra game. Now, I know that Xbox also had deals with adding extra games, but I am just saying that the PS4 just seemed like a more viable option at its time. And then fast forward a few years and we got the Nintendo Switch, which we are still using to this day. But all I am basically saying is that there was really no reason to buy an Xbox One back in the day. Now, I do know that there were a lot of exclusives, a lot of good games released back then. Personally, one of my favorite is Sunset Overdrive, which I still constantly replay to this day. But we are far from the past when Xbox used to be great. And no, I'm not talking about the Xbox One, I am talking about the Xbox 360. This Xbox 360 era felt like it made up so much ground on Sony, and for the many of the Xbox 360 was the console to own for that generation. You know, people loved the games, the controller got a ton of praise, the online was better than everyone else, and multi-platform games were often the best on 360 as well. They were in an absolutely outstanding position going into the next generation, but then Xbox One happened and all the momentum was lost. And now fast forward to 10 years later and we got the Xbox Series X, which is an amazing product. It does have probably one of the best specs of this generation, but as for the exclusives, it pretty much has no reason to be owned. Because without video games and actual reason to buy these consoles, you're pretty much just buying something like, for say a PC. Because that's pretty much what an Xbox is. It's pretty much just a smaller PC. And you have a lot of heady hitter studios like Nintendo working on their Switch. And recently, a few years ago, they did make the Switch OLED, which brought in even more sales. Because at the end of the day, you really can't compete with big IPs such as Mario or the Zelda series. And I guess a lot of you guys can defend your purchase of the Xbox. You can say that Game Pass is a very worthwhile subscription. I personally don't really believe this. I honestly just believe in owning your games and buying it if you really want to play them. Because at this point, Game Pass is now going for $20, which I think is quite fair considering that they just added Black Ops 6 to their library, but that is just personally my opinion. And let's just be completely honest with ourselves. Almost the entire library of Xbox Game Pass games are entirely woke pieces of shit, made by even woker pieces of shit companies. And I think one of the most biggest fumbles in the Microsoft career is actually making the Xbox Series S. Because I think we all knew going into this that the Series S wasn't going to be a high-performing console. Coming in at a $300 purchase, it was a very big deal for the console market, as it will be $200 cheaper than what you would buy it for, a Series X or a PS5, for example. But the thing is that most people bought the Series S simply because it was cheaper and they didn't really look at the hardware technical side of it. Now, Microsoft is not in the wrong here. I think a lot of people should have done their research before buying it. Maybe they would have saw that it was a big difference in specs. Because they pretty much just advertised it as a cheaper entry-level system that is pretty much the same as the Series X, except it does not run games at 4K. And when you look at the statistics of who actually bought the Series S compared to the Series X, you can see a pie chart saying that it was about 70 or so percent, and then 30% only bought the Series X. Which means that most people who own next-gen consoles, and Xbox specifically, own a Series S. Which is a huge problem for developers making new games, because at this point they kind of have to make it optimized for the next-gen console. because that will be a big middle finger to people who bought the Series S. So I kind of have to wonder with the upcoming release of GTA 6 if they will actually have to delay the game on Xbox. And I'm not just specifically talking about the Series S, I am talking about the Series X as well. Now, I was just reading a gaming article saying that the Xbox boss has officially debunked the 2025 rumors about a future handheld device. For some time now, Phil Spencer has been talking about the possibility of an Xbox handheld. Recently, rumors suggested that the new device would be revealed in 2025. But Spencer himself has now debunked that possibility, speaking to Bloomberg. The Xbox boss says that the expectation is that we would do something, but the company is in its early stages of planning. Right now, that means market analysts and looking at potential prototypes, and nothing concrete has been decided. Xbox should definitely decide to get into the handheld gaming. It's going to be years before it actually happens, which I kind of have to wonder what were they doing in the past few years. There was already enough time, resources, and money, and also developers who are passionate on working on new products. Because I think it is pretty embarrassing when you compare them to PlayStation and Nintendo, which have already made their mark on the handheld gaming market, with the PlayStation Portal and the Nintendo Switch OLED. Reading on from this article, that news is sure to disappoint some Xbox fans, but it makes quite a bit of sense. Nintendo is set to announce a successor to Switch sometime before the end of March of 2025. While the company has not announced a release window for the handheld, it has previously said that there will be a shorter window between announcement and release. And it's generally expected that the Switch 2 will come out sometime. If Microsoft is serious about breaking into handheld gaming, the last thing that the company wants to do is directly compete with the successor to a system that has sold over 146 million units. While Phil Spencer has openly discussed his interest in handheld gaming, there are still a lot of questions about what form an Xbox handheld might take. The company has made huge investments in cloud gaming this generation. And Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers can stream games to their consoles, mobile devices, and even Fire Sticks. It's possible Xbox could just be looking at a cloud gaming device similar to the PlayStation Portal. However, the company could also be looking into a device that can download games from Game Pass. It could also be looking into cartridge software like Nintendo. We simply have no idea what form this platform might take, and Spencer's comments suggest that the Xbox might not know either. Regardless though, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. A decade ago, analysts predicted that the handheld gaming was dying out. Following the explosion of mobile games on iOS and Android, the success of the Nintendo Switch completely upended that theory. And now the industry seems more invested in handheld gaming than ever before. With options like the Steam Deck, Analog Pocket, and PlayStation Portal, all appealing to different segments of the gaming community, Switch remains dominant, but how things will play out with Nintendo's new system is anyone's guess. That is going to do it for this video, guys. If you guys like it, please like it. If you guys didn't like it, then go dislike it, and I am out.